Welcome everyone to EdTech 5103. This is Advanced Computer Applications in Education, and I wanted to give you a little bit of introductory information that you might want to know for the course. My name is Dr. Angel Kimes, and I'm a faculty member in the College of Education in the Educational Technology Department. This is my second year at OSU, but my 7th year to be teaching at the university level. And this is a class that I really like to teach. It is an 8-week course, so we're going to be really busy over the next several weeks completing projects mostly. It's a very project-oriented course. For those of you who are less familiar with technology, it will be challenging in that you'll be learning a lot of new information. For those of you who are more experienced with technology, it will be challenging because I'm going to beg of you that you stretch yourself and learn something new. It's generally not fun if you just pick the easiest tool that's out there and do something silly that you don't really need. It's going to be really beneficial to you if you choose a tool that you've not used, maybe you've heard of it but not worked with it, and really learn something. Another big thing that is very important to me is to make everything applicable to your situation. So always consider the work that I'm asking you to do in the context of your real-world job, whether you are an instructional designer, or whether you are a K-12 teacher, or if you are a higher ed faculty. Whatever you're doing, really make it applicable to your situation, because that also gets you some more buy-in, and it makes it something that you can use, something that you can turn around and use tomorrow or next week or whenever. So I really want to encourage you to do those two things. Make it applicable, and always, always focus on learning something new. There is a short little overview of the D2L. It's had some changes, and one of the changes that we didn't really know about was the change to the profile page. I knew that they didn't call it a home page anymore. I was good with that. But they've actually even changed it so that you can't do a lot of updating to your profile. So what we've decided to do, we being me and my GA who's teaching a different section, we're going to just have you do a little introductory kind of board. Just quick questions about who you are, what you do on a regular basis, where you might be in this program. That helps people sort of know who you are and who has some sort of like interests, and maybe who they can look to in terms of discussions and posts and things to see who might have a little bit more experience, be a little farther down the road. So it's just a nice little way to get to know people. Again, because it's an 8-week class, it's really going to be fast. But this is a chance to maybe start to see some familiar names again and again, and get to know people a little bit better who happen to also be in your same field. Other things that you need to know. Discussion board. The discussion boards that are up right now have to do with the different modules, and each of those is basically a reflection. So after you undergo the technology learning cycle for each of the different modules we're going to do, you're going to post a reflection of your progress through that cycle, how you learned about new things, what you really did to stretch and grow, and how your new knowledge is going to change your daily practice. What you don't see just yet are some discussion boards about the textbook. And I'm going to give everybody a few more days to sort of get a book and make sure that everybody's got what they need to be on track. And then at the end of those chapters, there are discussion questions or thought-provoking questions, or however you want to look at it. So you'll see a prompt to answer one question, two questions, questions that I assign, questions that you can choose, those types of things. Also on the discussion board, know that what you're going to see for each of those is either a prompt to respond to your classmates or not. And that will vary from week to week. And then also the number of responses that will be required. Generally, I do 2 because in a big class like this, you don't want too much conversation. It gets overwhelming to try to read and keep up with for you and for me. So what we're going to do is anytime I ask you to respond, it'll be to 2 of your classmates. So just keep that in mind. We run on a weekly format where content opens up on Monday. If there are discussions where some kind of response is required, I'll tell you what your post your initial posting due date is, and then when you need to have those responses posted. If you've had me in class before, I generally do that on a Thursday night. You've got from Monday to Thursday to organize your own thoughts and get those down. And then if a response is needed, you'll have a few more days until Sunday to get that information posted. For assignments and things like that, updates to your wiki, those kinds of things can take place over the week. Now, that said, those due dates will be, when things have to be turned in. But other than that, you can always sort of go back and look through responses and revisit boards or discussions or things that people have said if it helps you in some way. But stick with those due dates. We are going to work in a week-to-week basis so that all of modules 1 and 2 must be completed by Sunday the 20th, and so forth. And we'll move through the course in that kind of fashion. You'll notice that some weeks you have 2 different modules to do and some you have just 1. Generally, it depends on the amount of work that's required within the module. The text is slightly dry, but it's very, very good. David Jonasson, who actually passed away a couple of years ago, is one of the co-authors on this text, and he is just an incredibly knowledgeable thinker in the field of educational technology. So the ways that he describes things and the ways that he has you think about things in the field are very, very important, and so that's one of the reasons I really like this text. Some of you will find it more applicable than others, depending on the work that you do. So I hope that you've enjoyed this introduction, and hope that if you have any questions, don't hesitate at all to shoot me an email and let me know what's going on, and we'll see you next week.